If you're just starting to get into tying your own bucktails, there's a few items you're going to need to get started. Naturally, first of all, you need some jig heads. You're going to need a vise to put them in and tie. This is a relatively inexpensive rotary vise. I think I paid like $20 for it. You're going to need some thread. This is a D thread on a small spool with a small bobbin, and you can get it in a larger size, a larger bobbin. A pair of scissors. Naturally, you'll need some material. This is a real bucktail. Then I use a synthetic hair, which is fish hair, and this works out really well. I like tying the bigger jigs with this stuff. Some flash. And then you're going to need some clear lacquer or clear nail polish, such as Sally Hansen's Hot as Nails. That works well. That's about it, and you get started tying. Okay, one other thing I like to do is I like to have a nice clean background when I'm tying a jig or a fly. Alright, we'll begin tying this 6-ounce ultra minnow. We'll take a few wraps here. Cut the tag end off. Take a few more wraps. Get some hair. Measure out the hair. I put a mark on the shaft right here. That's a rubber band. That's about right. Make sure you cut it nice and square. You can tap it if it isn't. Take your clear lacquer and just tip the butt ends of the hair, and that acts like an adhesive. It goes down into the hair. Take one wrap, keep a little bit of pressure on it. You could start moving the hair around the jig. You just want it nice and even, about halfway down in the middle of the jig. That's good. Take a couple of pressure wraps, flip it over, bring in your second color. Measure it out. Again, a nice square cut. I like to go about an inch beyond the bend of the hook. Slide that in there. Put the first wrap on there. Just a little bit of pressure. Start working it around. Alright, that's about it. Now we can lay some pressure wraps in here. Now comes the flash. If you're going to put flash on, this is the time to do it. Just lay it right on top. Where's that wild hair? Take one wrap, two wraps. Then you want to fold it back over. Take a couple more wraps. Cut it off. Repeat the same thing on this side. Now we can lay some pressure on this stuff. Now we got to finish off and secure the thread. I use a whip finish and I do it by hand. It's pretty simple. It's just a half hitch, a 3-time half hitch. Bring your fingers up, roll your fingers. The index finger goes over the top of the jig, come around, twist your fingers, do that again and again. And that's one. I like to do 2. Up on top of your fingers, roll your fingers, index finger over the top. 1, 2, 3. Pull it nice and tight. And that's it. One thing I like to do to keep the flash from flopping back over onto the hard as nails or the clear lacquer, whatever you prefer to use, I use a rubber band to hold all that stuff back. Just slip it up, roll it back, tighten it a little bit, and that's that. Now we'll put a coat of hard as nails on it. And you want to spin that for a bit. Let that stuff set up. What I also do, after that's dry, I like to put a second coat on. And in the second coat, I actually dip the entire jig head right up to the end of the thread, and it'll give everything a coat of clear lacquer, and most importantly, it will seal these eyes on. They're not going to come out on you. Okay, once it's dry, you have your finished jig. A nice 6-ounce ultra minnow, ready to fish. Just go fishing.